Greetings. My name is Ben, aka Downsizeit, and welcome to the week of Warhammer. That's right, special announcement for the channel that I am finally, after over a year of doing bat reps in my YouTube channel, adding another game system to the channel that I've been wanting to do since the very beginning. And also just going to have this video be an updated channel introduction as well. So before I get into the exciting news about the addition of Warhammer and the week of Warhammer that's going to be going on this week, just want to give some basics for the channel for those of you that might be new to the channel coming in, whether it's for Star Wars Armada or for Warhammer 40k, or for those that have been part of the channel, and just some reminders. So the first thing is that I started this channel back in January of 2021, so a little over a year ago, because I wanted to start, I was a fan of watching bat reps myself, both Armada and 40k, and thought, hey, I can do that. I want to start filming my hobby as well. And at the time that I did that, I was very fortunate to get into a partnership with a very special person named Garrett Vance, who is the proprietor of Admiral Tater's Ship Shop, and that is a store that does basically the best custom gear for Star Wars Armada, whether it's tokens, range rulers, turn dials, etc., tournament systems, and also some things for X-Wing as well. And our partnership that I want to let you guys know about, and just as a reminder for those that have been here for a while, is that if you ever want to buy anything from Admiral Tater's Ship Shop, use the promo code Downsizeit10 to get 10% off. And the link to his page is always in the description of every one of my videos. In addition, we are able to start doing a monthly giveaway that we've been doing for over a year now, and will continue to do, as far as I know, indefinitely. And how you enter into the giveaways for my channel is that you just subscribe to the channel and comment in my videos for the month. So for example, this introduction video is coming out in the month of March. So if you comment on my March 2022 videos, every video you comment in will give you an additional entry to win. And then I will do a random drawing, and on April 1st announce the winner. And for example, this month's giveaway is a set of Downsizeit defense tokens for Star Wars Armada, a large magnetic turn dial, or a $60 store credit to Admiral Tater's Ship Shop. And one thing I would like to mention, even you might, if you're a Warhammer 40k fan, maybe coming over from 40k to check some stuff out on my channel now. Granted, that giveaway doesn't have much to do with what your interest is, and my hope is, in a couple months, once I get my feet under me with the new content of 40k being added in addition, is to update the giveaways as well, to include potentials for everyone. So if you're an Armada fan or a 40k fan, there'll be something for you as well. So, really excited and just grateful to Garrett Vance for continuing that partnership and having that continuing to go on. The other thing I wanted to let everybody know about, just real quick, if you're new to the channel, is that there is a way to support the channel financially, which has been a huge help in increasing the back-end nature of my filming. Because when I started, it was just with my cell phone, this thing right here. And it did a great job. It can actually film in 4K, but it was, not easy to have high quality super high quality bat reps with more dynamics with just one camera. And with the assistance of those who support the channel financially, those are the members of the Downsizeit Admiralty Board, I was able to purchase a really nice 4K camera, some lavalier microphones to really help with the sound, because that had been a problem for a while, and some other accessories to assist those two audio-visual pieces of equipment. So if you're interested in supporting the channel financially and becoming a member of the Downsizeit Admiralty Board, you can either support through my Patreon, donate directly through my PayPal, or buy my merch from Spreadshirt. As you can see, I'm wearing some of it. I've got hats, shirts, we got mugs with my logo on it, other things. I don't have any gaming supplies yet with my logo on it. I think that's something I might look into in the next few months, adding that to my merch. Like gaming supplies that might be more useful to most people, because I know a lot of people might not care about buying clothing with my symbol on it. But for those that want to support the channel financially, it is a huge help for the back end, for helping me purchase equipment to help on the back end. And all of the money that comes in, whether through merch or through donations or through Patreon, goes into my Downsizeit bank account. And at the start of every month when I announce the winner to the giveaways, I also have the Downsizeit Admiralty Board meeting where I go over channel finances because I want to be open and clear to everybody how the channel funds are being spent and where we stand financially as a channel financially. And another thing I would also like to point out is I think this is different than a lot of channels that do where you actually subscribe and stuff. There is no special benefit to donating money to the channel. And I will never do that either. I don't want there to be any exclusive content where people who don't pay, whether they can't afford to or don't want to, can't access certain content, and people that do pay get special content. So just want to make it clear that if you support the channel financially, there won't be any extra benefits, with the exception if you buy merch. Of course, you're getting something, but the benefit would be just you're wanting to support the channel and help me to increase the quality of life and the improvements of the channel, etc. So just want to make sure that is clear as well for everyone that might be new. And I want to give a quick shout out to all of the Admiralty Board members that have helped out the channel financially. Very grateful. Thank you so much for your support. Because having this new camera and the audiovisual equipment has been fantastic and has allowed me to finally expand what I've been wanting to do for over a year, going into 40K content and then other gaming content in the future as well. So next, I'm going to talk about the schedule of events for the week of Warhammer and what having 40K on the channel is going to mean for the future of the channel and other content, etc. Okay, so now that I've kind of gone over the basics of the channel, I want to talk about the specifics of Warhammer and what it's going to mean for this particular week of March 21st of 2022 for the week of Warhammer. And when I originally created the channel, it was always my intent not just to be a pure Star Wars channel, Armada channel, or 40K channel, or Battletech, or whatever. I wanted it to be a channel that explored all aspects of my gaming hobby and sci-fi nerddom, etc. But I chose to go with Armada first because that's a much simpler game to film and record bat reps for. And I really wanted to wait till I had 2 cameras before I started doing 40K because I wanted to do those videos justice. I want to try to keep a high quality. I want to make it as high quality as I can with my limited ability. And having 2 cameras is almost essential, I think, to get some good 40K content out there. And it took longer than I anticipated. I was really wanting to do it a lot sooner, but I'm glad it finally happened. I was able to purchase the camera in January, then had a bit of a high delay because I was in a play at a local community theater here, but now that that is done, I'm ready to expand. And my plan, my long-term goal, or even short-term, if I can get my scheduling to work out, is to have every Tuesday of every week release a Star Wars Armada bat rep, and every Friday release a Warhammer 40K bat rep, or nature of it. Like 40K has like Kill Team and other types of games that help to go with Warhammer, but primarily 40K and Kill Team. And I'd like to have that every Friday. And so that is the goal, assuming, scheduling conflicts notwithstanding, to try to have that solid release schedule every week. Because up to this point, for the past year, my release schedule, as those have been watching the channel and been with me since the beginning, it's been a bit erratic. It's kind of all over the place. But I'd like to get into a steady schedule, and I think that'll make it easier for me to be on schedule, but also for you guys watching, so you kind of know what to look forward to every week. So speaking of 40K, and Warhammer 40K is easily in my top 3 favorite sci-fi universes, and a shocker probably to most people that have been with me, it's actually above Star Wars. Trek is my original nerd. Star Trek, specifically The Next Generation, is my #1 favorite sci-fi or just any fictional universe. And 40K could have an argument for #2, easily #3. I just love the ridiculous over-top nature of it and how just crazy all over the place it is, and just how wondrous it is in its grimdark nature. And for those that are not familiar with 40K, just to let you know, I'm just going to give like a little quote of the opening of pretty much every 40K, no matter what medium it has ever been. It goes, In the grimdark future of the 41st millennium, there is only war. So I just want to make it clear for those that are new that 40K is a grimdark universe. There are no good guys. There are no wins. There are only heroes and the constant fighting in the war in the galaxy. And I'm going to go into specifics once I get to the schedule. I'll let you know when. And the lore of 40K to kind of educate those that might be new. But I just want you to know that there is a pretty big difference between the Star Wars universe and the 40K universe. But I love both of them. And I love the game 40K because when it comes to tabletop, despite all of its flaws, there's a lot of flaws, we'll get into that later as well. But there's also a lot of good things, and the main thing is having really cool miniatures on the table and basically getting to play with your toys. That's what it is. It's just like Armada with ships, except with 40K, it's with armies on the ground and of all different shapes and sizes. So, let me go ahead and get into the schedule for this week. So, for this week, the week of Warhammer, today, Monday, is the first one, and what I'm going to do specifically for this week after I'm done going through the schedule is I'm going to give you guys a history of my history with Warhammer 40K, how I came to be aware of it, and my evolution of my knowledge and immersion with 40K over basically the past 20 years. It's been about 20 years. And so that's going to be today, Monday, at the end of this video. Then tomorrow, on Tuesday, I am going to be releasing a Star Wars Armada Bat Rep with Aaron the Sir Chicken, just to maintain my normal release schedule. But in addition, I'm going to release a 40K podcast, and we're going to talk about a very brief, and I do super air quotes brief, history, in-game history of 40K. And for those of you that are aware with 40K, saying brief history and 40K do not go together in the same sentence. But it's just going to be a super truncated version, just barest bone cliff notes for people that are not aware. Just an overview of what 40K is in the lore. And then after that, on the video tomorrow, I'm going to go over the very basic rules of 40K. I'm not going to go in depth, but just in general how 40K plays and how it differs from Star Wars Armada. Because this has been mainly a Star Wars Armada channel, not mainly, exclusively Armada channel for the past year and a half, I want to talk about the differences between the two game systems so people can be aware, whether you're new to 40K or not. Because if you're a 40K player that might come in to check out my channel for the first time, you might be interested in, wait, what is this Star Wars Armada? You might be interested in that as well. So that's going to be tomorrow. Then on Wednesday, I'm going to be doing an army showcase of my army, which is the Adepta Sororitas Sisters of Battle, Order of the Bloody Rose, the Saint Mina's Angels, which is my commandery, my army. And I love lore play when it comes to 40K. Almost, that's the main reason why I love 40K is the lore. And we're going to go over my order of battle, show off all the models that were beautifully painted by White Weasel Studios, because I can't paint. I don't want to learn to paint. I hate it. But I have massive respect, and I love the artistry of those that do paint. And the folks at White Weasel Studios over in Zaragoza, Spain, painted me a wonderful army that I had commissioned. And I can't wait to show it off and talk about my order of battle for the army that I have. And that'll be on Wednesday. Then on Thursday, we'll be doing another super brief chunk-rated history of the Adepta Sororitas, the Sisters of Battle, just to give a very briefest of overviews so you guys know who and what they are, because I plan on doing regular lore videos now. But then we're going to go over their 9th edition Codex overview and my own personal review. And those of you that are familiar with 40K, you're probably thinking, that came out over a year ago, why are you doing this now? Well, I haven't been even been able to play with it. I bought it when it came out, but I have not actually played a game of 40K in about a year and a half. And even though it's a year late, all the other major channels have already done all their reviews. Well, a year later, I'm going to go ahead and give my overview and opinion about the Sisters Codex and how their army rules work, so that everybody can be aware of how the Sisters of Battle play and how their general order of battle plays, specifically the Bloody Rose, because that's who the Saint Mina's Angels are, is the Bloody Rose. And all of this is in preparation for the grand finale on Friday. We'll have the debut Warhammer 40k bat rep, and I'm going to be very happy to be able to bring back and feature an old regular on the channel, and that's Robbie. He actually is the one that started off with me, him and Social General Rob, filming the bat reps for Armada. But I had been playing 40k with Robbie previously to that, and he's had a bit of a hiatus from the channel, and I'm very happy to have him back, welcome him back to the channel for a 40k bat rep that we're bringing his Thousand Sons. So on Friday you can expect to see the Sisters of Battle versus the Thousand Sons. It will be a casual play. For those that are familiar with 40k, there's different ways to play, and the vast majority of what you see online on other YouTube channels is match play, like basically tournament play. This is what we will not be doing that. We're just going to be doing basic rule casual play. It's open play, I think is what it's called specifically in the core rule book, primarily because Robbie and I have not played, like I said, in a year and a half, and we just want to get back into the game, and adding the extra rules when it comes to objectives and secondaries and all that stuff, and the different vagaries of how the rules have changed over the years, would be a little too complicated for us to start out. So, but really excited to show that off to you guys, and to be able to play that battle again and get my sisters on the table. And then on Saturday, we'll have a bonus bat rep. Excuse me, one moment. So on Saturday, we have a bonus bat rep that was filmed by Aaron the Sir Chicken, and he and his friend filmed a bat rep of Warhammer Fantasy, or as they affectionately call it, Old Hammer, like the original Warhammer Fantasy. And it's very rough. It's not, there's not a lot of, there's no like super close-ups or anything. It's just they set the camera up and they just played, very basic. But this was Aaron's first time filming a bat rep, so I encourage you guys to check that out just to support Aaron with his endeavor getting into the filming of bat reps and checking out some old school Warhammer Fantasy. And again, if you're new to 40k, you might be like, what is Warhammer Fantasy then? Well, Warhammer Fantasy takes place in the same universe as 40k, but instead of taking place in the year 40,000, it takes place in the super ancient past of Earth, and there's magic involved, and there's been different iterations of Earth. There's a whole, I'll let somebody else who knows more. I don't know that much about fantasy, but let's just say, think of Lord of the Rings, but in the Warhammer universe, or Dungeons and Dragons in the Warhammer universe. Alright, so that's the schedule coming up for this week, for the week of Warhammer. And the last thing I want to point out, just to be clear from the very beginning, is what Warhammer will and won't be for this channel. As I stated before, there are a ton of fantastic YouTube channels out there that do massive amounts of 40k content, match play content, talking about high-level competitive play, etc., keeping up to date with all the current tournament rules that come out with the chapter approves, etc. I will not be doing that for this channel. What will also not be happening on this channel is featuring every army, because I only own one army, and that's the Sisters of Battle, mainly because I can't afford more armies, and there's really no other armies that I really want to invest the lots of money that it was for me to get those Sisters of Battle commissioned. And the other armies you might see is based on other people I play, like Robbie has Thousand Sons. I know he has Gene Stealers. There's other people that play in the area. There's actually a pretty good Warhammer community, so as I start building it out on the channel, I'll be able to feature more armies to challenge my sisters, basically, as I expand to get more people to feature on the channel. But it's not going to be one where I get to showcase, when like a new codex comes out, I can't just bring out a brand new army to show off the codex, because I just don't have access to those armies. Excuse me. But what Warhammer will be on this channel is the focus of narrative, because you don't see that a lot actually on a lot of the YouTube channels, is a heavy focus on narrative play. And that's what I love the most. And that's what, like Buster and Social General Rob, that's what they really love about 40k is the narrative play, the crusade rules. So my plan is to basically go through an ongoing crusade, quote-unquote, campaign. And I'll get into the more specifics about what that means in 40k rules when it comes to crusades and campaigns, etc. It's actually a lot more casual than, and loose-fitting than a strict campaign or whatever. But we're going to keep it more of a narrative-style play, crusade-style play on the channel for 40k, basically to help differentiate from the other channels that already do fantastic work for match play, and also because of the limitations of the items, the models that we have, and the armies that we have. So you guys will be able to go on a journey with me as we explore 40k, a journey with Saint Nina's Angels as they fight the good fight for the Emperor of Mankind and to safeguard the Imperium from all the horrors of the galaxy through a lot of crusade and narrative play for 40k. Okay, well, I hope everybody's excited for that. I'm excited. I've been wanting to do this for over a year, and I can't wait to get this started and get this going. So, if you're interested, coming up next, I'm going to just give a brief history of my experience with 40k over the years and how I got introduced to me and how I got started. So if you're interested in that, stick around. Okay, so let's talk about my history with 40k. And so I had never heard of it before about 20 years ago, and the first time I had even seen anything like it was back in the year 2000. Yes, I am a bit middle-aged, you could say, when I was at the Air Force Academy. And there was a gaming club at the academy. I think it's still there. And they are doing I think it was my second month there. It may even been the first month, and they did this weekend showcase where basically just people just bring in your war games and just introduce games to people. I mean, there was like RPGs, Dungeons and Dragons, Shadowrun. There was tabletop games. There was BattleTech and board games. But another one, the biggest one that was set up, was a massive 40k game was going down, and I don't remember much about it. I do remember that the Ultramarines were there. I didn't know they were called that at the time, but I just remember the blue armor and the blue soldiers, the blue space marines, and it was orcs, basically space orcs. And I thought it looked really cool, but I also thought, wow, this looks exhausting to play because just one unit took forever. And for those that have been in 40k for years, I have no idea what edition it was. Maybe you can comment in the comments below and let me know what edition was 40k in 2000 and what were the rules like back then. I have no idea. But it intrigued me. I was like, this is cool, because I started talking to one of the guys that was like pseudo playing, like they're just going back and forth. It was actually a massive battle. I think like 3 guys were playing the Ultramarines, 3 guys were playing the Orcs, and I mean, it was, at the time I didn't know, but I think it was probably like an Armageddon scale game, or Apocalypse level game, I mean. And he was just kind of telling me about the lore. I was like, well, this is actually kind of cool. Dark, grim dark, but it's actually kind of cool. I like it. And so that actually was my introduction. I didn't play, and that was my... And I had no experience with the tabletop version of 40k, I mean, for probably 18 years. But it got me interested in the lore. And over the 2000s, I gradually became aware of the books, and some snippets of lore, but also computer games. Dawn of War was my first full immersion. So Dawn of War 1 and Dawn of War 2 in its iterations, it came out. I got into those and I thought, oh, they were really awesome. I really enjoyed it. And one of the Dawn of War 1 expansions had the Sisters of Battle. And that's when I first became aware of the Sisters of Battle. And I was like, of all the different factions that inhabit 40k, the Sisters of Battle, I was like, yes, that's it. The nuns with guns, the holy warriors of the Imperium. And that was like, alright, this is awesome. But in addition to that was also the Inquisition. Because nobody expects the Spanish, the Imperial Inquisition. And I thought that was really cool. And how they were married together, how the Order Hereticus and the sisters were the chapters militant of the Order Hereticus and all that, and that interplay and that lore with them. And it was around the mid-2000s is when I became aware of a game system, RPG system, because I love RPGs, called Dark Heresy, which is basically the D&D of 40k. And that's when I really fell in hard with the lore of 40k. That's when it really kind of deep dived. Basically playing campaigns of Dark Heresy and running campaigns. I actually only got to play a couple campaigns. Usually I was running them, because not a lot of GMs, but I would usually be the ones to run it, which is fine. Because that meant I could make my own Inquisitor be the NPC and lead then the party of acolytes. But One of the times that I did play, actually got to play Dark Heresy, was I chose a Sister of Battle, and I really enjoyed it. And had her running around with a chain sword, a Condemner bolt gun, and just, exacting justice and retribution in the name of the Emperor and all that good stuff. And so, did that for years, probably a decade about, actually. And so that was the full immersion of my interest with 40K was through the RPGs and the video games, primarily Dark Heresy. And not Dark Heresy, the RPG, Dawn of War. And then Battlefleet Gothic came out, and I was like, oh, this is awesome, because I love, big, Star Trek, Star Wars, I love space battles. And then so the Battlefleet Gothic game, the PC game, when the first one came out, was really awesome. I really enjoyed that, played that multiple times. And Battlefleet Gothic 2, played that multiple times. And then, and at the time, the only miniatures game, another real quick thing also that was really big into 40K was a board game called Relic, and which is basically a 40K version of the game Talisman. And if you're not familiar with that board game, just check it out. It's actually, we really enjoy that game Relic around here, my friends and I and the family. And it's based set in the 40K universe. You have a 40K character of different types. They have Space Marine, Inquisitors, Sisters of Battle, Mechanicus, Guardsmen. And you basically, in the Talisman section, you go through these, concentric rings working towards the middle, but you're constantly fighting against Chaos, or Tyranids, or Eldar, or whatever, and working towards trying to get to the center and completing whatever the main game objective is. So that was another way that I was doing a lot of 40K immersion, was through the game Relic. And so, but the only tabletop miniatures game I had played and even invested money in was Battletech. And I've loved Battletech since even before 40K. That was, Mech Warrior 2 in the early 90s was my first introduction to the Battletech universe, and ever since then I have been Clan Wolf all the way, Timberwolf my favorite mech, and so I had commissioned people to paint me some mechs for Battletech. I actually have myself a Supernova Trinary. You guys probably don't know what that is. Maybe whenever I get to Battletech, adding that to the channel, we'll go through this again just for Battletech. Leave that to the side. But anyway, that was, still cost me some money because I don't paint, so it cost me a little extra. It cost me more money to get into these miniature games that don't have pre-painted models because I don't paint, so I need to commission people to do it for me. 8th edition 40K now comes out. And a friend of mine, and I'm going to shout you out right now, Chris, because I'm going to continue to blame you for the end of time for getting me into this game and all the money I've now spent into it. But when 8th edition first came out, I forget what year it was, but you guys know that are part of 40K. It was years ago, maybe 5 years ago when 8th edition came out. Apparently a huge rework of the rules, basically back to ground zero rework of the rules. And a new kind of Space Marine came out, kind of named Primaris. And Chris was really getting into this, so he started buying some Primaris Space Marines, and was getting into the local 40K scene, and he was part of our close-knit group of gamers, with Albert and Buster and Social General Rob. And we would play with him because Buster actually is a huge 40K fan. He's actually been Sisters of Battle player since they were original range. He has a full metal army of Sisters of Battle, as well as Imperial Guardsman Vostroyan Guard. But I would just play with his models. I thought it was cool. And I would get games in with Chris. We'd actually do multiple games where we'd have multiple players on each side and control different units, play some 40K, and I was like, all right, this is a lot of fun, but I don't want to invest money in another miniatures game. I have Battletech, that's all I need. Now, Chris knew that a certain character in the game, or in the lore, was my favorite character of all time, and I played with her all the time, the middle version of her with Buster's army. You probably know who it is, and that is, you can probably guess, she has wings, she's the Emperor's Angel, Celestine the Living Saint. My favorite character in all the lore, and I love playing with her, playing with Buster's models whenever we would play. And then Chris showed me a picture of Celestine the Living Saint from the Triumvirate of the Imperium when that box set came out, which had Celestine and her Gemini, Inquisitor Greyfax, Inquisitors as well, and Belisarius Cawl. And Chris knew that I also loved Inquisitors too. And when I saw that, I just texted back to him, I hate you. Because then I was like, alright, if they're going to be doing a Plastic Sisters line, I got to get into this. And so actually, Social General Rob and I went in together on that box set where I got Celestine and the Gemini and the Greyfax, and he got Belisarius Call, so he could start his own Mechanicus army. And then the rest is history, you could say. And unfortunately, at the time, this was 2.5 years before Plastic Sisters came out. And as you guys know, excuse me again. Sorry, guys, my throat gets dry really quick. As you guys know, aesthetics is probably 70 to 80% of my decision when it comes to gaming for me. I love aesthetics, I love lore, and I love the Sisters of Battle, but I hated their metal miniatures. I hated them. So I was like, I'm not going to invest in this. I'm just going to wait to see. I mean, they have Celestine, so that means they have plans in the future to have Plastic Sisters someday. They had not announced it, by the way, yet. But I wanted to. I'm like, well, I want to start playing 40k. What's an army that I think I would enjoy that I could pair Celestine with, and even Greyfax, because she's an Inquisitor. Celestine has rules that can help Imperium or whatever, and based on how the rules work, I would take massive hits, including them in armies with command points and whatever, trying to get detachments filled out. I didn't care. So I was looking at all the different armies of the Imperium that would work, that I would be interested in, and landed on the Custodes, the elite personal guard of the Emperor. And so that was my first army, was Custodes. I had a guy locally painted up my first few, and then a guy out of Texas I commissioned to paint some more. And so I had a Custodes army to start, and I had Celestine and Greyfax I included in almost every battle. And as you guys know, with those roles and mix and matching factions, I had like maybe 3 command points every game to play with, but I didn't care. I had Celestine and Greyfax and Trajan, Valoris, and very few Custodes, and I would get myself, most of the time I'd get obliterated off the board because it was not competitive at all. But we played narratively, and we had fun games, and I really enjoyed it. And then I was hooked. I was like, well, I want to check out some more factions. Then I started reading about the Necrons. If you want to talk about my second favorite faction behind Sisters, it's the Necrons. I was like, oh my gosh, because they had just, I think their codex had just come out. I was like, oh, this is cool, so I got to get some Necrons. So I decided to do more cheaply. Instead of buying models and having people commission for me, I started buying secondhand off eBay, pre-painted models. Which, by the way, if you're interested in getting to Warhammer cheaply and you don't want to paint or don't know how to paint, go to eBay and look for secondhand models. And that's what I did for Necrons. Got myself a Necrons army, and then I decided, no, I want to get into, I thought Tau were pretty cool, so I got into a Tau army. I did a gun line. I didn't do a lot of mechs. It was more of like, I want to do kind of like, I should have done Guard if I wanted to do this, but I just did it with Tau. I had like, I think 60 Fire Warriors, this basic strike team with the long guns, with 3 Hammerheads. I think I did eventually get a Riptide, had a Storm Surge, some like support units, but it was mainly I wanted to have like a gun line with the support tanks in the back, like a normal like order of battle, like I guess you'd see modern days. I would usually play Borkin for the extended range. But anyway, again, buying secondhand off eBay. And around that time was when they announced that they're going to be doing, finally, Plastic Sisters. Little do I know I was going to have to wait 2.5 years for it. But that's when I was like, that's going to be my army, and I'm going to go all out with it. And I want to make sure that I'm going to get a lot, and I'm going to make sure they're painted exquisitely. I'm going to get the best. So I started saving. And for 2.5 years, I was putting a little bit away every paycheck. And sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little less. And I continued to play 40k, sometimes off, sometimes on. I mean, we would change game systems with my close group of friends. We'd play 40k. Kill Team came out, we'd play that. Then we'd go back to Battletech, then Star Wars Armada, and just back and forth, etc. And then, finally, the Sisters of Battle model range is starting to come out near the end of 8th edition. We didn't know at the time it was near the end of 8th edition, but it was near the end of 8th edition. And then I was like, all right, it's about time to get ready. So then I started in a preparation, searching for a company to paint my models for me. I ended up landing with White Weasel Studios. I'll talk about that more in detail when I do my Army Showcase on Wednesday. But fantastic. So happy with the results out of that studio out of Spain. But then I started selling everything. I sold off all of my 40k stuff, my models, except for my assassins. I kept my 4 assassins that I got from, I bought those off of eBay. But everything else I sold, including my original Greyfax and Celestine, because my OCD, I wanted everything painted the same, or at least the same artist, And so when I commissioned my Sisters of Battle with White Weasel Studios, when the models were finally out, I had all my money saved up. I was ready to go, and got, I think it was close to 2,500 points worth of Sisters of Battle, plus a redone Celestine and Greyfax. And so, again, go into more detail. And then, like I said, the rest is, you could say, is history. And for about a year, maybe a year and a half, was played it took about 6 months for the commission. Then once the models finally came in, I was so happy. Like, I didn't play 40K for about 6 to 8 months because I had no models because I sold everything. But when they came in, played a lot with Buster, with Social General Rob, played a whole lot with Robbie, so I'm so glad he's back to be able to play with him again. And but then around Christmas time of a year and a half ago, I was like, I want to start a channel. After watching all the YouTube channel bat reps for 40K and for Armada, and decided to go with Armada first because that would be easier to do as opposed to filming 40K. And then but my goal, like I said, start with Armada. My goal is but then I'll do 40K after a couple months. Little did I know how much time it would and effort behind the scenes to do a YouTube channel, to keep content out, and got so busy and constantly doing Armada, and it's been so much fun doing Armada. But I'm ready because to get back to my original plan to have multiple game systems of content on the channel. So here we are, years later, and so excited to have Star Wars Armada and now Warhammer 40K on the channel, and to have it be a regular thing. And just like a preview, like I talked about BattleTech, just spoiler alert, probably in 6 months, because I want to get a steady schedule of Star Wars Armada Tuesdays, Warhammer 40K Fridays. In about 6 months, then you guys will probably start seeing me to start adding in BattleTech, because BattleTech is another game system and game universe, sci-fi universe that I absolutely love and want to add to the channel as well. But for now, we are now going to have Star Wars Armada, Warhammer 40K, excuse me. And one thing I didn't mention about the regular schedule, I'm going to start doing some regular, because I love the lore of 40K so much, I'm going to start doing lore videos once a week as well to talk about the lore of 40K, and that's going to, that'll definitely keep me occupied for many years. Because of those of you that are familiar with 40K, I don't think there is a sci-fi or even fictional universe that has more lore written about it, or even how deep and expansive it is. D&D, maybe D&D in the Forgotten Realms, but even then I don't think it's even close to 40K, so that'll keep me occupied for a long time. So the plan is to have Armada, 40K, and 40K lore, and can't wait. I'm so excited to have this part of the channel expanded. For those of you guys that have been with me since the beginning and throughout this past year, subscribing and just watching, whether you're commenting, supporting financially, or just like you say, the silent majority, the silent watchers, thank you so much for supporting this channel for the past year and not quite a year and a half, but year and a third. And I am so excited to see where we go in the future, and I can't wait to take this journey with you. So until next time, take it easy.